Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando, that's Corey, and today we are doing 1995's Mortal Kombat. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And this movie, Mortal Kombat 1995, stars Christopher Lambert, Robin Shou, Lyndon Ashby, Bridget Wilson Sampras, back then all just known as Bridget Wilson, Cary Hiroki Tagawa, sure.
Not gonna act well in this movie.
So
You will be next.
it started with like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They turned the cartoon into a live action movie. And then I think He-Man came out. The Masters of the Universe came out before this one as well. And then that kind of took a dump after the Turtles went through the roof and made a boatload of money. And then they tried to take a really cool video game at the time and turn it into a movie. Because they were like, we already did cartoons. Let's try a video game.
I think you're also leaving out the epic Gone with the Wind-esque Super Mario Brothers interpretation with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo.
That was left out on purpose. That was...
You didn't like the two non-Italian people playing two Italians?
Yeah, it was just not for me. We'll just call it that. But this movie came out and basically just tried to capitalize on a lot of those other movies that were capitalizing on cartoons and other things and video games. And it's the IMDb description is 3 unknowing martial artists are summoned to a mysterious island to compete in a tournament whose outcome will decide the fate of the world. Pretty accurate for what this movie is.
No, it's
you don't
not.
Think so?
The actual the better description for this movie would be 3 ingenious producers got together for the epic cash grab on a video game that was crazy outselling everything else in the genre.
I like it!
The premise of this movie isn't bad. The execution and the writing is disturbingly terrible.
This was essentially like Bloodsport, the video game.
Yes. Well, and what
because you're going to a kumite and fighting in this competition, and then you just throw in some mysticism and you got it.
Yeah, well, and we'll get into exactly what I didn't like about it, but as an overview, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this movie, what I didn't like about it is there's certain rules, if you will, in the video game. There's certain things about the video game that if you're going to do a movie about a video game, need to be in the movie or need to be accurate with the video game. If you're going to go that route, you need to go full bore. And this was written, directed, and acted by people who did not know anything about this game. So,
and barely knew anything about even combat.
So this movie opens up with Liu Kang having a dream about his brother getting killed. He wakes up and sees the telegram, brother dead, come home. It cuts to Sonya Blade, and Sonya Blade is an American cop in Hong Kong?
An American cop in Hong Kong hunting an Australian. This is basically Point Break. It's the end of Point Break.
So this is Point Break 2. We'll just call it that. And she's chasing Kano. And again, another movie where nobody in a club is fazed by guns. Johnny Cage, they cut to, he's the action movie star. He's on set. And he's tricked into going to this tournament by Shang Tsung because he disguises himself as his manager or somebody that he knows. Liu Kang then gets to China, and he's apparently descendants or part of like the Shaolin monks out there. Okay, up until this point, it's kind of like almost like laughable bad. But then it gets to Liu Kang in China. Now we're getting into the meat of this movie. And he's with all the Shaolin monks, and enter Raiden. This broke-ass dollar store fucking Raiden character. Okay? First of all, Raiden, the god of lightning and thunder and whatever, pretty sure is Asian and not a white dude with long white hair. And then he talks like this the whole movie, and it's very upsetting to me.
You have been chosen to defend the realm of Earth.
I'm not 100% sure who got a boner from putting the Highlander into this role, but it did not work.
No, it didn't. And I'll be honest, because Raiden's character, in this movie, there's no, whoever wrote Raiden into this, because you have to have Raiden because he's in the goddamn game. Never looked at the game, first of all, to see what the character looked like, because it's not the same. But B, his character is meaningless, but he's written in the whole movie. But his exposition and his little monologues and whatever, it's just white noise throughout this whole thing.
And he never really does anything in the game.
Exactly.
He fights.
Exactly.
And this one he goes,
Yeah.
And then has sparkle fingers like Thor Ragnarok.
He has.
Like, okay, cool.
Every time they're like, well, you can do, and he's like, nope, can't do it. Sorry, my bad. Nope, I can't fight because I'm Raiden. No, in the video game, whatever. Let's move on. Liu Kang.
What's the point of being a god if you can't do anything?
He's just an overseer and observer. That's all he is in this movie. Liu Kang is going to this tournament to get his revenge on Shang Tsung for killing his brother.
I'm going to find my brother's killer at the tournament. With or without your consent.
Who gives a shit? Anybody. It's like the Kumite. Anybody can join. It's not a secret anymore. But they all get to the pier and take this weird dragon boat to Shang Tsung's mysterious island in another dimension or another realm. Sure. Sonya is still trying to actively capture Kano, so she gets on the boat and just willy-nilly throwing her gun around like, you know where the fuck this dude is?
Two things. One, she is wound far too tight. Like, Jesus Christ, take a breath.
When I want backup, I'll radio for it.
She is one of two kinds of, like, female characters, right? Which is, she's far too serious. She enjoys nothing. She's completely driven. Fuck everything else. I am completely focused on this one thing.
Yeah.
And she comes off just like an idiot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just a complete, and she's so tired of every man hitting on her.
Yes.
That when even they come up to talk to her, she's just like, psh.
I don't want anything from you.
She goes down into like the belly of this boat, which on the outside, when it pulls up, it's this massive ship. The set is tiny. It's not matching up. She gets down into the belly. She sees Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, and Liu Kang are down there. Enter Sub-Zero and Scorpion, which are the two best things about this movie. Those are the two best characters, and they don't speak, so dope. So the writers had no chance of like making these characters terrible because they didn't have to write anything for them. And I'll say this, for the like CGI or the effects at the time, the whole like little thing coming out of Scorpion's hand actually was pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. If they shot that today, it would obviously be better. But that's just technology.
One thing I didn't like about it, in the video game, it's basically like a dagger on the end of a chain that he shoots at you, whatever.
Get over here! Excellent.
Is it a raven? Because it like caws when he like I didn't get that. I'm like, cool. No. Yeah, you put a raven's head on it. Fucking awesome. But Sonya in this little belly of the ship finally realizes she's in a tournament.
What tournament?
You've been chosen, Sonya. Much to my delight.
Good thing I put on my fighting shorts.
Well, she had to cut her pants because, she can't fight in pants. Welcome Raiden again, and what you're about to face and mystery things, and in order to save the fuck you, Raiden. We get to Shang Tsung's island. Liu Kang and Kitana stare at each other longingly, and a lizard statue is told by Shang Tsung to watch her, and it runs away. Cool. They're eating dinner. Shang Tsung announces this tournament, right? Sorry, no dinner. We're flipping tables now. Glad you got a grape in your
Yeah.
system. The tournament's starting now? Okay, cool. Let's watch Sub-Zero freeze a guy because things. So just so I could say,
Flawless victory.
he doesn't really announce that the tournament's starting like this second. But like all these like, broke ass ninjas come in and Sub-Zero fights this guy. Is this the first fight of the tournament?
What tournament?
Or is
I
this
think
like
so, technically.
or is this like an example of stuff and things?
Like an exhibition?
Yeah, like I don't know what it is. Like it's never announced.
You guys chew that grape slowly. We're gonna box this one out real fast, show you what we expect.
Sonya this is what really makes me mad. So after this, Sonya is still looking to arrest Kano. She has now realized she's in another dimension. There's this god named Raiden. There's all kinds of mysterious bullshit going on. Her sat phone isn't working. But I'm still going to, and this goes to your point, like I'm still uber focused on arresting this dude.
Did you see what happened back there? I want to get to the bottom of this.
You couldn't find Kane in Hong Kong, and the guy's half his face is a robot. It's metal. He looks like the fucking Terminator with half his face gone. So you couldn't find the Terminator walking around Hong Kong with half his ass hanging out. Now you're going to get to the bottom of the interdimensional Mortal Kombat tournament. You are not the detective I want on this.
So this is where they introduce Prince Goro, which, again, for the time, not bad. I mean, the character himself is not bad. He's talking to Kano while Kano eats turkey legs or whatever. More exposition. And this is what I didn't like about this, because Shang Tsung comes in and is talking about Kitana. And Goro says,
The Emperor's adopted daughter?
who then later got her own apartment, and then... exposition like this really annoys me. And
Yes.
and there's a lot of it throughout this movie. That bothers me. But
I would like them one time just when they do this kind of exposition, like you say. Oh, that Princess Katana, blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
blah. No, motherfucker, the other Princess Katana that was going to fight in Mortal Kombat. Like, are you stupid?
Yeah, that
Just
bothered
throw
me.
it back to their face so it's at least,
Yeah.
you're not making us feel stupid. Like, oh, I'm such a dipshit lazy audience member that I literally need you to spell this out for me in the plainest of terms.
And it comes out later in the movie during Katana's little exposition with Liu Kang who she is. So you don't really need this here.
No, you have to constantly be reminded of who she is, which is hilarious because we're there to see the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly.
Your plot and your character arc are completely irrelevant. They're not even like a B plot, C plot, or D plot.
Yep. So Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, and Sonya overhear this whole conversation with Goro and Kano, and they're found out because they loudly walk away. And then as they get away, and the invisible lizard blows steam on Liu Kang's face, and now it's time to fight. This is the best part of the movie, okay? A, because it's Mortal Kombat, and that's what they do. But B,
Yes.
because, god damn it, I love the Mortal Kombat song. You know it's time to get serious. Like, shit's getting real when you hear the shit got real, and we're about to fight. Yeah. And again, the fact that the song is the best part about your movie sucks ass.
Show me how.
If you're gonna do a movie with a lot of karate in it, you might want to hire some actors who know how to fucking do karate. And Bridget Wilson would not have been part of this.
Dude, I was thinking about it when I was watching the movie, and you see her warming up, and she's going,
That's dude, it's literally a fighting. It's Mortal Kombat. Combat is in the name of the title. It's a karate martial arts video game. And you got some of the worst actors to perform, and stuntmen to perform some of this stuff. And
Oh yeah, and don't get it twisted. Just in case you think we're like ripping Bridget Wilson this whole time,
it's a lot
dude.
of people.
Johnny Cage was horrible.
Johnny Cage was horrible.
I don't think he could actually win a fight against the real Bridget Wilson.
Probably not.
She would fuck him up.
Whoever his stand-in was, like whoever his like karate expert, like whatever, he was really good. Johnny Cage, the guy who played Johnny Cage, not good at all. They go through this whole, and this is again what I didn't like. In the video game, there's like, they're at the temple, and if you want to put it in another realm, at Shang Tsung's that's fine. But there's like monks sitting there, and you have the guy in the chair, and then you fight, and then winner and finish him, and you have all that shit. There's none of that here. Kano and Sonya fight. She kills him because revenge, killing her partner, whatever. You get Shang Tsung doing the whole Sonya wins, whatever. Cool. But then Johnny Cage fights Scorpion first in a forest, and then he takes Cage down into what looks like Freddy Krueger's dreamscape. And they fight. There's no audience. There's no like, Shang Tsung isn't there to announce winners or whatever. And then like Scorpion takes off his head and he starts blowing fire, and then he gets cut because apparently he's built out of propane, so he just explodes, fireball, whatever. Every fight, and it's cool, you can have them at different venues, but like this one's in a forest and there's nobody there to see it, and this one's in fucking Freddy Krueger's dreamscape, and then this one actually looks like the video game, and then this one doesn't. Just, can you have some consistency throughout this thing? Like, that's why I say the people that wrote and directed this never even watched somebody play the video game.
No.
So,
like basically what happened was their kid was playing Mortal Kombat, and their dad was like, "Hey, son, how was school today? What'd you learn?" He's like, "Fuck, I'm playing Mortal Kombat, Dad. Shut up." He's like, "Why won't my son talk to me anymore? I know what I'll do. Mortal Kombat the movie." That was it. That's literally the story of how that got made.
So, back to the regularly scheduled tournament, by the way. Liu Kang fights Kitana in like literally the worst half-assed fight scene I've ever seen.
Like I got you in a headlock. Here's what I want you to do. At midnight, you call out, "The owl flies at dusk." I will know then. Like, dude, you're not being sneaky at all. You might as well just have the conversation.
And not fight.
It's so ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. There's no point to this secret fight competition meeting they're having.
And again, this goes to the continuity of the movie, because I was told there was going to be soul stealing here. Okay, now I'm disappointed because Kitana loses this match against Liu Kang, and her soul is not stolen. And other people lose, and their soul is stolen. Like, he only wants the souls of 3 people. Just fucking tell me that at the beginning of this movie, and don't make it like they made the stakes like, if you lose, he steals your soul. But then certain people lose, and there's no soul stealing, and certain people lose, and there is. Fuck you, movie. Let's move on.
Your soul is mine.
Before the meeting with Raiden, they actually show Goro, who I think kicks the shit out of a bunch of guys, because it's literally, I don't know, 6-7 shots of guys just hitting the ground, because
you hear somebody go,
yeah, you just get the Goro grunt, and it's fucking whatever. After this, so Goro grunts and he wins, and just guys' bodies flying everywhere. I'm just assuming they ran out of money and couldn't film more of Goro fighting. So
it probably looked like shit when they rendered it.
I'm assuming
on the
because the fight that Goro actually has that they show isn't great. They did the best they could, I guess, but their best was just not good enough. So.
Yeah, man. If you're showing up to see Josh Brolin playing Thanos, it's not that.
Yeah, exactly. So since there's no rules to this actual tournament, because in the game you got to go through these people and fight here, and if you win, you move on. There's no rules, so Cage challenges Goro and gets the fight. Like Goro accepts the fight, and cool. That's how.
Well, why wouldn't he?
That's how tournaments work. During this fight, we see, this is the best part about this whole thing. During this fight between Cage and Goro, we get to see broke ass Matt Dillon from Singles. I don't know if you saw this. It was like Dollar General Matt Dillon in a cut off flannel, long hair, and just in the background. It's like one of these things is not like the other. It was like the shittiest Where's Waldo ever. It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
The guy holding the boob mic just got picked up on camera, and they said, fuck it.
Dude, that's exactly what it looked like. They fight, and during this fight, Johnny Cage does his split punch in the nuts. At least they saw enough of the game to know that that's what he does. But he basically punches him in the nuts, runs away, climbs up the side of Castle Grayskull to where Goro comes and catches him. He knocks him off the cliff, and he wins. Sure, because that's how the game was played. Shang Tsung, after this, then kidnaps Sonya and takes her to another sub-realm of the sub-realm. Raiden can't go because Raiden rules.
In the wastelands of Outworld where I cannot follow.
And Johnny Cage and Liu Kang go and follow him in there to find Sonya and fight Shang Tsung.
Raiden is the bitchiest diva ever.
Like
he makes Mariah Carey look like humble as shit.
I was gonna say,
he just constantly shows up when he wants, and he's like,
don't show up. Why did the writers even write him into this movie? If you're not going to listen, if you wanted to write Raiden into this movie, first of all, you would get the Raiden from Big Trouble in Little China, the lightning god in that movie, because that's who Raiden. I don't know if it was based off of that character, like this video game, but that's who Raiden is. Like,
yes, 100%.
It's not this guy. Second of all, if you're going to have him in the movie and he's a god, like Shang Tsung is technically, I think, a god or godlike. And he could fight everybody. And he could shapeshift and he could do all this stuff.
Well, that's...
And then Raiden's just like this bitch-ass god. Like...
Yeah.
Get him out of my movie.
Mortal Kombat, where does the mortal come in? Because there's a lot of immortal shit happening. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you're very free with the word mortal. And I don't approve of that.
The one thing that was kind of cool is, I mean, not this part wasn't cool. Liu Kang finds the invisible lizard from earlier in the movie, because that literally plays, you think it's going to play a role early in the movie, and then it shows up sporadically for no reason. But he kills the invisible lizard. It falls into like a statue, and then it creates Reptile, which, again, the character of Reptile is great because he doesn't speak, he just fights.
Yep.
And this goes along with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They fight. It's a pretty decent fight scene. And
we
then
got two people that seem to know what they're doing, and they don't rely too heavily on the special effects.
Exactly. But you end this pretty good fight scene with him just getting kicked, and he lands on the ground and turns back into a statue because Mortal Kombat rules. They find Katana. Katana gives more exposition. They cut to Sonya, which I found hilarious. So this whole movie, Sonya's been like ponytail, tank top, shorts, baseball cap. And now she's all tied up in a leather miniskirt and her hair's all done. Like Shang Tsung's like, get rid of them shorts, bitch. Nobody wants to see that shit. We're putting your ass in leather and put some highlights in her hair or something. Do something.
Go to hell.
What's the point?
Why
did she need to change clothes? I don't get anything that's happening at this point.
There's even a comment made by Johnny Cage.
Nice dress.
Even Johnny Cage realized this was a bit much. Cool. Enter Paul Walker and the rest of the Skulls into this whole thing with Shang Tsung. Liu Kang then challenges Shang Tsung to Mortal Kombat to basically win the tournament. I guess because I don't know what the seeding is. Whoever fights Shang Tsung, I guess, wins? Cool.
What about Johnny and Sonya?
Johnny's undefeated. Sonya's undefeated. Liu Kang's undefeated. But Cool. So again, it's the end of the movie, and it's serious shit because the Mortal Kombat song is playing. And I got hyped up again. This movie tricks you. Because I went from like, this is bullshit. They play the Mortal Kombat song, and I'm like, and I got all happy. And then I got let down.
You got your glow sticks out and we're just jamming.
And then they play it again. I'm like, oh, don't fight, don't fight. And then I got disappointed again. Liu Kang wins and saves the world. They all return to the Earth realm for a celebration at the Shaolin Temple. And at the end,
that's a real rocker.
Yeah, I know, right? So Shao Kahn, who is Kitana's stepfather, he shows up as like this giant figure in the clouds and says he's there for everyone's souls. He's gonna fuck everybody up. And this is literally Dollar Store Raiden's response.
I don't think so.
And then they all get in like their fighting stances and end of movie? The fuck out of here. This movie was trash.
First off, if I'm the rest of the crew, when Raiden's like, I don't think so. I'm like, yeah, you didn't do shit. You got this one. We're going to Denny's because we need some fucking carbs and protein, like, stat.
It doesn't need to be said, but does this movie stand the test of time?
No, this is bad. I would actually I know they did, like, kind of do a remake, and it sucked as well. But I really would like them to take a good, solid stab at just making a Mortal Kombat movie to the level of, like a comic book movie-esque budget.
I would love for the creators of like the DC universe, like everybody involved in making DC, because I'm not a huge DC movies fan. They're too dark for me.
Yeah.
But I think
they're trash.
But I think the DC, like the darkness of the DC brand would be good for like making this movie.
Well, yeah, because Mortal Kombat, a remake of Mortal Kombat wouldn't necessarily require a script as much as it does a soundtrack.
Yes.
And that's what DC does great.
Yes.
Is put soundtracks over top of action scenes.
And the script doesn't have to be deep. I mean, again, the premise for this movie is actually not bad. Okay? Like the if you go over like the synopsis of the movie and read through it, it's not bad. It was just the dialogue that was written was horrible. The character development was horrible. You didn't need a lot of the stuff that was in there to have. Listen, the people that went to go see this when it came out in 95 weren't like, ooh, I wonder, what Liu Kang's arc is going to be. They didn't give a shit. They just wanted to see the fighting. So
that's what I was going to say. The relationship between Kane and Sonya, nobody cared about. The relationship between Liu Kang and
Kitana,
the main bad guy.
Shang Tsung. Yeah.
Like, all of them. Name any character. It didn't matter. Their relationships with each other were completely irrelevant.
Yes. That's why that's why
completely wasted.
That's why Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Reptile were the best three things about this movie, because you didn't have to develop characters, you didn't have to have dialogue. They were there to fight and fuck people up.
Correct.
So, like, that was the best part of this movie. If the movie was just about them, dope. I like it. But it's about everything else under the sun. And I don't know, the next time you try to attempt something like this, can you just get an Asian guy to play Raiden and write him as a regular character instead of like this bullshit that I got with this movie?
I know.
I would love to see something like, I'm just going to throw out names. Ronda Rousey, The Rock. I don't know who's a big karate guy these days.
I don't know. The Rock.
But even somebody else like Conor McGregor. Just throw some fucking fighters in there that actually know what they're doing. Yeah. With one good actor and just let him go.
Exactly.
Well, with that said, this movie sucked ass. And outside of the song and 3 characters, it was dog shit. So, do you have anything else for this movie, Corey?
No, I want to go. I want to go to my happy place. Get me out of this realm.
So, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1995's Mortal Kombat.